So we are live now. Richard, welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for the invitation. It's been a long time since we've chatted, so I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'm looking forward to it.
No worries. I mean, we are free. Let's say I have some questions prepared, but at the end of the day, you know, it's a chat. We're on the bar, and Pepe's bar, and I'm drinking a beer. So cheers. As you see, I am drinking from the bottle. So
I thought about it, but I don't mind drinking from a bottle, but a can. I find a can a bit.
That's yeah. That's You need to be in. I would not say any name of any place in the world. It's okay. That's okay. So, thanks so much that you take the time to be here. So we know each other for years, I would say, but I don't know you. I have to tell the truth, and I think you don't know me at all. Who are you?
Who am I? That's a good question. Well, if I think back, I grew up in Manchester, in the UK. Bit of a broken family. My family is incredibly chaotic. Lots of people coming and going. But yeah, outside of that, really got into computers at a very early age. Spent a lot of time playing lots of games on my computer and started learning software and decided to go to uni. First person in my family to go to university. Got lots of support from the government because of my social background. Really enjoyed university, but it was actually kind of lucky. I did a degree that had a placement year. So I got to have a year in industry, and it was the year in industry that got me into software testing. And then since then, just been, driven and want to do more and more. But yeah, outside of work, I love football. I love craft beer. I've got my little boy now. He's nearly 2. So yeah, life has changed a hell of a lot in the last few years.
Okay, so that's good. I mean, I can tell you, I knew that you are from Manchester, and I can tell you a story about Manchester. Many years ago, maybe you don't know that we have a product. The name was CaseMaker. So it was a test case design tool that we develop and so on. And we're thinking of bringing back, because now the people want to do again test case design. So maybe we bring it back. I don't know. And I have a partner in UK, because at that time I have a company in UK, in London. And then we got a meeting in Manchester. So we went there to visit a customer in Manchester. And we went there. It was a broadcasting company. It's maybe 15 years ago, something like that. Okay. I can't remember the name, and it got sold, but it doesn't matter. And we went there, and at the reception of the company, the guy at the front desk started talking, and I understood nothing, nothing at all. And my partner was Steve Allott. I don't know if maybe you know him from UK, Steve Allott. And I looked at Steve and said, I didn't understand a word. So if we have now a meeting, I'm lost. I'm really lost. That's why I'm happy. I'm happy that I understand you. So it's
mine comes and goes. If I'm near my family, it comes back a little bit. But I kind of went to school in a place called in Cheshire, so not too far from Manchester, but a slightly more market posher part of the UK, and I kind of lost my Manchester twang a little bit. But yeah, it definitely comes back every now and again.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to me too when I'm in Spain and I'm talking to my family. Then in the Canary Island, we don't speak the last words or this, and it's very difficult. And then we speak quite quickly. So my wife now understands all the things, but at the beginning she said, "What are you talking about?" Because it was very quick and only the half of the words and without ending. And
yeah, I've always got the impression that other languages, because there's one thing I hate about the UK and our education is languages aren't really pushed on us. It's like English is the number one. You don't have to deal with anything. It's so disappointing because I wish I'd learned a language, but I always feel other languages are so fast. I know I must talk fast, but whenever I hear any other language, I'm like, why are they talking so fast? So yeah, I would have No chance.
Yeah, I mean, this is especially. I remember when I came to Germany, the first 2 years was really very hard for me, because I'm not the person who is how do you call it, is able to learn quickly the languages. So I need to practice a lot, and I need to hear, and then but it's okay. So one thing about you that for me is very interesting, because if I look at you, so you went there, and suddenly you were there, and then you got a lot of recognition, and I see that the people like you very much, and so on. So how was the way there?
It's interesting, yeah, because I feel like it's similar for a lot of people. So I did maybe 6 years of my testing career not knowing there was a community. That was the first bit, but not also knowing that there was books about testing, that there was education about testing. So I did my placement year. I did what was ICEB at the time, ICEB certification. But everyone did it at the.
Shame on you. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, it's good. It's good.
Everyone on my placement year did it, right? Even the people who weren't even in software did it because they paid for it. So anyway, I did that. And then I graduated, and I tried to look for jobs, and I ended up in this by thinking, what's this piece of paper mean? Let's have a look. And I got a job. And the team were brilliant, right? But everything was in the team. So all your education was from the person to the left or the right. And there was never a need to be exposed to anything. And there was even one of the biggest at the time. Testing conferences happened literally around the corner from my office. But no one in my team said anything about it. No one knew that. And then it was really when I started trying to learn automation. So I started using a few simple tools, and I discovered Selenium. And in learning Selenium, I ended up being on what at the time was the IRC channels. And then someone pointed me to Twitter. And I was like, what the hell is Twitter? So I joined Twitter, and I started seeing, following people on Twitter. I ended up following Rosie Sherry. I ended up following people like David Burns from the Selenium from the Selenium project. And I just started following more and more people. And then, that kind of led to me realizing that there was people out there that did my job, and they were willing to share and educate and help each other. And I started seeing that David Burns particularly was quite a big blogger. And I thought, I'm solving problems all the time. Why don't I try and blog? And that was it. I started blogging. I used Twitter to share my blogs. Companies that existed started tweeting it and resharing it, which got me followers. I started getting feedback that I'm quite good at explaining things, and I don't overcomplicate things, because I can't. I'm not smart enough to overcomplicate things. So I did things in a quite simplistic way, and my writing got a lot of traction, and that just led to followers and followers and followers. And then it led to conference speaking. I'd never done that. Did a few 5-minute lightning talks, a few 99-second talks, and realized that, I kind of like this. And started writing abstracts, started submitting it. And then moved into training. I remember doing my tutorial at Agile Testing Days. I started moving into training. My partner's a teacher, so she helped me massively. She helped me learn how to teach, how to structure what it is you're trying to teach, how to design engaging activities. And kind of all these things just stacked up on top of each other to find myself as an educator, an influencer, if you think of the modern terminology of social media. And that's kind of it. It kind of just blogging and then talking. So the underlying thing is sharing. Just started sharing.
Yeah, I think so. For me, it's always interesting because there are many people. So, it happens also with Ministry of Testing or Test Bash, and also with Agile Testing Days, that people just come to us, or maybe to you too, and they didn't know that we exist. Oh, yeah. And you are working for years, and they said, "Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. My company no one." And the best thing, they are sitting in Berlin, or even sitting in Potsdam, and they say, "Oh, I didn't know that we have a big conference here." So, and you are just okay, and it's so difficult to reach to these people.
Yeah,
okay? Because they think they are alone there. They are the only one. I don't know.
It's one of the biggest challenges, as yourself, running Agile Testing Days and the company behind it. One of the biggest challenges we have, we get biased sometimes into thinking the following on Twitter and your following on LinkedIn is the testing industry. And it's such a tiny percentage of it. There is tens, hundreds of thousands of testers that have no idea that we exist, that there's people trying to push the boundaries, that there's people educating, that there's people willing to give their time to support you. They've got no idea. And yeah, that reach is incredibly difficult because, you're trying to focus on the group that already do know you, but at the same time, you're trying to outreach and you can only do so much. Which is why, people always ask me every week, how can I help Ministry of Testing? And I bet you have the same answer for ATD. Tell people about it. That's my number one advice I say all the time. Just tell people we exist. Don't say we're amazing. Don't say we're brilliant. Don't sing us up.
They will find out.
Exactly.
Yes. That's the point. It's true. It's true. Yeah, it's true. So that's interesting because I think we have similar life. I mean, how old are you now? May I ask?
I am 36.
36.
Yep.
Okay, you could be my son. Really? I'm 57 now.
57.
57.
That's okay.
Yeah, this
good age. Yeah.
Yes, it's okay. No, but
how old do you feel?
27.
Perfect.
And a half. The half is for the pains.
Every morning. Oh.
No, I really don't care about the age. My mother is now 98.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And no, I'm 58. Sorry, I'm 50. I'm 58. No, not 57. I'm 58. So, and my mother is 98. So we don't care. We don't care about the age. And but the interesting thing is, I was also the first person who studied in my family. I also need some help from the government to go to the university. If not, we couldn't afford that because and it was impossible. And it's interesting to see that this is a similar way. This is, but we talk about it a little bit later because for me the important thing is that you are now boss. Right, I am boss, but you are boss. So, so this is the interesting thing. How is for you to be or to become the boss? What was for you? Because you changed the roles. You changed the roles.
Right? Yeah. If you had asked me 2 years ago, like pre-pandemic, I was like, things were going brilliantly. Yes, there's pressure. You're running a company. Like I think the biggest difference is, I went from being a tester on a team, right, an employee of a regular company. I then moved into consulting on my own, training, I set up my own entity, my own business, and then that led to basically working in partnership with Ministry of Testing and Rosie Sherry, which then led to Rosie saying, "Do you want to be boss?" So I have gone on a little bit of like, I work on my own. I'm running my own business to now running a business where we have employees, and I think that's the.
Wait a second, because I don't know what happened here.
Oh, sure. Okay,
wait a second. Because my daughter, my small daughter, is in the school, and in the kindergarten, sleeping for the first night, but I think everything is okay. I guess so. So no message.
No,
I don't know what happened. That's okay. Sorry. Sorry for interrupting you.
It's all right. So yeah, I was saying like I absolutely love the job. But what if I'm being brutally honest, there's many elements of it I love, right? So I love that I get the freedom. I love that I get to design things. I love that I get to shape things that I can see other people utilizing and thriving in, and building a platform that raises other people. Like I don't want to build a platform that raises me or the employees of MOT. I want to build things that raise other people. But that comes with so much pressure. Finances. Like that's a new thing for me. As I said, running my own company, it's very easy, right? Company gets some money. It's technically my money. I'll work out how best to get my money. Whereas here, the money is MOTs. There's people to pay. There's community members to pay. There's software to pay for. Like there's a lot of costs, and that's the bit that was a steep learning curve for me. Like how can I forecast? How can I plan it? So there's always stress about money, especially with the pandemic and all the impact you've suffered yourself as well.
I mean,
And then
the wheel that you are running is quite big, being the boss, and there's other things now.
And then the final bit was I always shied away from management. So whenever there was promotions to be like a test lead or a test manager, I never wanted it because I love being hands-on. I want to be building or coding or being a part of the team. So I always kind of said no to these jobs, and that's why I ended up consulting. Because in order to earn more money, companies wanted me to be a manager. I was like, well, if I be a manager, I'm not testing anymore. I don't want that. So I went consulting, and now I've ended up in this position where I love the job so much that I have to manage. We have a team of 8; they need looking after, and that's something that I've trying to still improve. Like, how can I build an environment where my team can thrive? They feel comfortable. They feel valued, but they feel protected. They know I'm going to be there for them, or they know that MOT is going to be there for them. So I would say, like, the money side of it, the management side of it, that's been tricky. But the other side of it, because I am the boss, or the boss, I get to do my own things. Like, I code our website. Me and Andrew build parts of our website because I still want to remain technical.
Okay.
I can't not code, so I have to be a part of it. And I still want to be a part of our initiatives.
That's interesting, because I did the same when the first Agile Testing Days, the websites or the programming, not the website itself, but the whole programming for the registration and the back things and so on. This is all of mine. I did it, but now it's I have first not the time and not even the knowledge, because I need to. I keep up to date because I really read the books, and because we are working with Python or Ruby, so I bought the books and read it because I want to understand the code and so on. But myself, just to really go down again and program on, no, I will not do that. But I think the last things that I did was when I don't know if you know that, but I developed many syllables and training worldwide.
I
have developed, and one of them was the mobile testing. That had nothing to do. The first one was without the ISTQB, and also the mobile, the automation, this automation for mobile testing. This is I am one of them who developed that, and but it's maybe 8 years ago or something like that. So
I came to the conference. You did the mobile testing conference in Potsdam.
Okay. This was the time. Sometimes, and so there was the time. But I nowadays I'm gone. I still get the nervosity in my fingers to do something. But when I think twice, let it be. They do better. They do better than me.
Well, you had Vernon on recently, right? Vernon Richards.
Yes.
And he said something to me quite a few years ago now, and it's something that I still remember and I stick to it. He basically told me, as you know, my alias is Friendly Tester, right? So he said to me, you do realize that Friendly Tester has to die and Friendly CEO has to be born. Like, you can't continue to be as involved in testing and practicing testing and learning testing and et cetera, all testing. It says you've got to start learning how to be a good CEO, because that's your job. And an element of that now is, I don't want to be programming our website ideally, right? But I have the itch. If I ignored the itch, I probably wouldn't be a very nice person. Like, I'd have to satisfy it some way. But at the same time, I also know it's not sustainable. I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But at the moment, finances and affordability, and you utilize the skills in your company, right? And at the moment, I have skills to build websites. Therefore, that's a good use of me as an employee of the company. So I'm playing that role. But going forward, obviously, I want to remove myself.
Yeah, of course. But I think that's I do the same in many things in the company. If I have the skills to do things, I do the things. So there is no problem. But I try to avoid work. Let's say in that way. No, because the thing is that if I need to do it, then I sit down and do it, and then it's done. It's okay, But we are so many things, I am involved in so many things that I cannot do all the things. So I just pick the things that I want to do it, and or I need to do it, but as a CEO, but it's okay. So if you see your role now, CEO, what would you say to the young Richard?
To the young Richard?
Yeah. What's the advice that you want to give him?
I think it's the advice I gave myself already. It's just, you have to be continuously learning. I still think that's the thing. Like, I've always done it, and it's the advice I would still give myself. I don't think I would do anything too differently. I've always been a keen learner. I'm just a sponge for information. I'm very lucky in the way that my brain works, that I can learn things, or my brain can process things really quickly, and then that I'm able to recall them. I've got an incredible memory. But yeah, I would say keep continuously learning, keep pushing yourself, but from an aspect of, I always want to learn more. Like, I want to keep going and learning more. And nowadays, obviously, with technology, social media, information's it's just there.
Yeah.
So,
we are moving and fast.
Yeah. If I had one, actually, you've reminded me of one thing. I would have loved younger Richard to read more. I'm not a very good reader. I struggle with written text to use that as a mechanism to learn, but there's so much valuable information inside books. I wish either my parents had pushed me to read more, or I pushed myself to read more at a younger age. I'm trying now, but it's not something I enjoy. I enjoy the learning, but I don't enjoy the reading.
Yeah. I only read if I read some books too, but quite last. I have to say that I read if I need to read a book from the business perspective. Then I don't know how do you say this in English, but I just go through. So I'm pick the things that I want to read, and then I get the main idea, and that's it. In the early days, of course, I read all of them, but now in my age, let's say in that way, I go quick through.
We call it skim reading.
But I think one of the things that I've seen, for example, for my kids, that are different. For example, when I see my elder son or my daughter, that they pick a book and they read the book because they have seen with the mother, not with me, with the mother, or with my actual wife. And I haven't seen that in my family, because my family need to work and didn't have the time to read. And I always make a joke. I mean, in my house, the only book that we have was the telephone book. The encyclopedia, the encyclopedia, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference when you grow up in other kind of family, that they don't need to work that much, and they have another kind of social status, let's say in that way. So the kids have other chances. So they are privileged. So they are privileged, and that's the point. We couldn't move, okay, but not everybody can do that, of course. One thing that I like very much about you is really that you speak the things out. You don't care. You don't care about the things, and I always struggle if I should do it or not, because sometimes I said, who cares about my opinion? Who cares? So I end up saying, maybe it's my age. Again, my age is the topic here, but I like that very much about you. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's one thing that I did early on was, as I said, I mentioned it before, the way I used to blog and write, I would write the way I wanted to read. So I've met a lot of people in the community who try to write to make themselves, or they believe they're trying to make themselves sound better or more academic or whatever it may be. Whereas I basically write as I speak. So I think that's the thing that I've always been. I always wanted to be myself. And then from the blogging of trying to be like that, when it became this kind of, I never set out to be a voice of authority, right? But I've ended up being one. And I'm in a position, I'm in a privileged position where I have a large reach. I've realized that I have to say the things that matter to me. I have to speak out against the things that I don't agree with, because who else is going to? So there might be loads of people with a lesser following and they're screaming their heads off about what they dislike, but no one's seeing it. I have a large following and I want to use it to influence the change that I would like to see in the world. And then to do that, I have to be honest. I have to be open, because it's really obvious when you're not. If you start kicking up a storm about something that clearly you do not care about, it becomes blatantly obvious that you don't care, especially if you end up having a conversation about it. If, like, for example, you're having an interview like this or a chat like this, in a bar, and when someone who does know something about it asks the perfect question to you, you're stuck.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be found out to be a fraud, because I'm not a fraud. I only talk about the things that I know, and I will only ever push things on the understanding that I have. And I think the key thing that I've also come to realize is that if I read something or someone replies to me with something that make me go, I think I'm wrong, I will say it straight away. You know what? You've changed my opinion. You've changed my view. I thought this, but since you've highlighted this to me and opened my eyes to this, I now actually think this. And I love doing that. I love doing that especially. And I love it when I leave it out there. I hate when people delete it. Yeah. When people make a mistake and then they delete the mistake. I don't like that. I own it, run with it, show other people that you've grown, that you've changed, that you've learned. I wish more people did that.
Yeah, but it's difficult. I mean, on the one side, it's difficult to accept that you change your opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
And even, for example, in the company itself, because you have an opinion as CEO, okay, about one thing, one matter, and you talk to your colleagues, and your colleagues tell you this and this, and they are surprised when they say, okay, true, let's go in that way. Yeah, but they say, no, it's fine with me, this is okay, let's do. Yeah, but you didn't want. Yeah, but now I want. That's okay. I see it, you're right, so let go with that. Okay. And when they don't know me, they don't know me that much, they think it's strange, because I don't care. If I think that they are right, then let's go with that, let's try. That's not the point. When the other thing, for example, that you talk lately about pay to speak. Yeah, that's something that I think that for both, for you and for me, is a pain. It's a pain because I don't understand that. Okay, from my perspective, because we have the situation like you. I will not call them friends, but because they're not friends, but we know the people and so on. And then they go to the place and they, I don't know how do you call this in English, but it's like treason. It's why do you do that? Because you are helping the people who are using you or using the other guys, and why? And I have no explanation for that. And I wrote some tweets about that too, and because it's crazy. I don't know.
It is like, you're right. It's a topic I have given endless amounts of thought to, and I could probably talk about it for hours. But there's a few things that annoy me about pay to speak, and I can actually tie it back to what we said at the start, right, about going to university. The opportunity for me to go to university was only there because someone else was willing to fund it.
Yeah.
And that's the same in our industry. The opportunity for someone to speak at a conference is not there if there's no financial support.
Yeah.
So they will never go.
Yeah.
And that's just never an option for them. And they might not even be aware it's an option in the first place to be disappointed, right? But once they are aware it's an option, that's real disappointment. That's real. And what I also don't want is, I don't want that person to want it so much that they then sacrifice things that they shouldn't be sacrificing. They pay out their own pocket. which might mean that they can't afford this, or they can't afford their deposit. They're taking money away from their savings, or whatever it is that they should that money should be for. Right, that's the bit that annoys me. The few angles that I have come to terms with, I understand why people speak at them. I can see I have enough reasons why someone would do it. I don't agree with them, but I understand that someone might do it because they have goals right now, right? They have their own goals, and they believe that this opportunity, even though it comes at a cost, is going to help them meet their goals. And if they make that assessment, that's fine. I understand why events do it. Events are driven differently. MOT, Ministry of Testing, we incredibly people-focused company, incredible people-focused community. I would much rather have a 20 grand loss or a 20 grand less profit, knowing that I help someone attend a conference and get the joy and satisfaction of being on the stage, the buzz, the things that are going to come to them because of what they've had. I would much rather they had that than I had, or the company had that money. I mean, other companies aren't like that.
Yeah. If you look back, I don't know how it's with MOT, but with us, the last conference we did, no one of them were profit. Yeah. We pay the speakers because there's no other way. I cannot tell them, we don't pay you. So, okay, I'm not making profit. So maybe this year, maybe next year is coming, and that's okay. But that's the point, yeah.
And the thing is, the one thing that I want to stress, and one of the reasons why I've gone after a few conferences recently, is I want people to know that there's alternatives. So that's my main goal, is that I want people to know there's options. I want people to know that paying to speak is not the norm. Like, that's the thing that I try and push to people, is that you can, I am perfectly okay with you deciding to speak at an event that's paid to speak. If I've seen that you're aware of the options. If you're doing that knowing that you could have spoke at Test Bash and be paid for your travel and accommodation, and maybe even a fee. You could have spoken at Agile Testing Days. You could have spoken at Romania Testing Conference. If they know that there's other options out there and they still make that decision, great. But what I'm on a mission to do at the moment is to make people know that that's not the norm.
Should not.
Or even if it is the norm, there's other options.
Yeah.
That exist. So if people are aware, they can make better informed decisions. That's literally testing, right? The more information we have, the better decisions we can make.
Yeah.
But yeah, as an individual, I know, and I've seen the evidence. I've been part of the evidence. I've seen the impact that it can have. That a not pay to speak conference has a much better, huge impact in our industry than what I view as a closed off, privileged entry, where either you can afford it yourself or you have a company that's foolish enough to pay for you to go and speak there. And obviously, outside of like sponsor talks, right? Sponsor talks are a completely different thing, right? That's, the company is expecting to make something from that. But if you're an individual paying and your company is willing to pay for you to go, that's your decision to make. But I think that company could spend that money better. They could invest it in, other training, other initiatives. And then you should go and present your incredible insights at a conference that actually values you, that cares about the time and the effort that you're putting in, by simply finding, and it's not even a lot of money, like the biggest conference, we'll avoid naming them, right? But some of the bigger conferences out there, I know, because I've looked at the financial records, they're making a lot of money. And I know, because I've sent lots of people to conferences, that the cost of sending 20, 30 speakers is not that high. And it's not high compared to the money that they're making. It's a fraction. And they could do it.
It's payable. And it's fair. It's a fair share. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're just choosing not to. And again, they can make that decision, but I don't want to be that company. I want to be a company where everyone can come. Every opportunity I put out should be accessible.
I mean, the thing is that you open the door for everybody. Okay, if the paper that they send that they have is good enough, and to be presented. They doesn't matter about the names, about where they are coming from, and so on. So they know that the costs are covered at least. Okay, and this is the important thing, and that's why there is also a lot of new voices and so on. So that's the good thing.
New voices, diverse voices. Everything is significantly improved by opening that door. As I said, giving everyone that opportunity.
But I always say that even if they change the costume, okay, so they're still the old world. Okay. Yeah. So that's the point. So I would like to go back again to because we already talked a little bit about your childhood, and I always when I interview everybody, I mean, I think if you want to understand someone, because I know where I'm coming from, I know my way, and I know how much my childhood influenced my life. So and that's why I would like to understand your childhood. How was your childhood? Happy, I guess, but
I'm not sure. It's a tricky thing. So, like, I would start by saying that I have good relationships with my parents. Right, whatever happened and the way life it was that way. Right, for whatever reasons. My childhood was definitely not the traditional one. So my parents never married. My family, my mum and dad split up when I was incredibly young. I ended up living with my nana or my gran for a period of time. So my mum, I never had the living at home with your mum and dad. I was never. Well, if I did, it was for like, I can't remember off my memory, but it was like years, if it at all. Okay. So I had the life where we were coming and going a lot. So obviously the way society has been, you live with your mum. So I live with my mum, and my mum's work kind of meant that we moved quite a lot. So I think I went to 6 or 7 different primary schools.
Wow.
And then my mum settled in a town, and then I went to that school. But as soon as I was of an age where you can make, a decision about where you live, I always wanted to live with my dad. And it wasn't because I didn't like my mum. It was because of there was a lot of constant change living with my mum. And my dad had always lived in the same place. He only recently moved out of there. He only recently moved out of where he was. So I kind of wanted that stability. But the problem was that stability was 16 miles away from where I went to school. So a large part of that meant that I wasn't around, friends. Like, I can't just go out, on a night out. And, I was living in a place where I didn't really know any other kids. And I grew up in Wythenshawe. It's not the nicest place in the world. So, if I had gone and hung out on the streets of where my dad lived, I probably would be a very different story. I don't know what the right term is, but on average, people from that council estate they don't reach the heights. Like, it's very few people kind of push on from a point. So yeah, I ended up living with my dad. Again, that was, not saying it was brilliant. It was all different. But yeah, my dad did one brilliant thing, which he kind of ended up having to retire from work. But yeah, my dad drove me to school every day. So the school nearby me was not as good as the one that I went to with my mum. So my dad drove me to school every day, 16 miles, like 40-minute round trip twice a day, which meant that I stayed at a better school, which meant I obviously got a better education. And then, yeah, I've ended up where I am now. But yeah, it was definitely back and forth, a lot of change. But, I'm not saying it was bad, because, I had got 2 sisters. I did have a brother. I do have a brother. He's just not here right now. He's somewhere else. But we were a family. It was just very untraditional. Like, different dads, different places, living in different areas. But I do believe everyone always tried to do the best for me. I do think there was always effort to, to do the best they could. But yeah, looking back, and I've got friends who, had the traditional, family home, parents, obviously super happy, live together and so forth. That wasn't me, unfortunately.
But it looks like all together with all these changes and challenges help you to be there today. I mean, life is a challenge, and it's not easy. And we all, I think there is no childhood that is all the time, let's say, rosa, pink, that everything's fine. And I think that there's a lot of struggles there with family itself, with the father, with the mother, with the place where you are living. I have a friend who really had a very good family house, but he was always was bullying in the school, and people hit on him and so on. So there's a lot of different things in life that happen, and even for my kids, I mean, they have also to struggle with things.
That's what I mean. Yeah, everything changes. Like I say, that's why I'm trying to be. I want to say that I genuinely believe my family were trying to do the best for me at all times. But the way it was led myself to be quite self-sufficient in a way. If I needed something, I knew that I had to do it, because I couldn't rely on everyone else to do it, because it was so much turbulence. There was so much potential change that I couldn't control. So therefore, if I wanted something, I'd do it myself, because I can control that. I can make that happen or not. But yeah, nowadays, obviously, my brother passed away, but my older sister, she's doing great. She's doing awesome things. My little sister lives in Australia. She's having a great time. My mum had a lot of troubles, especially around mental health, but she's doing really, really well these days. And my dad's happily married, and he has the things that he likes. So things have ended up as they have. But yeah, it's like you said, it builds the character, it builds who you are. That there's those memories, those foundations, those influences. They're kind of a driving force that you try and utilize for a positive.
Now you have a son, Findlay.
Yeah.
Right. So that's very nice. I remember the first time when I went with my ex-wife to the doctor, and we saw the ecography. And we saw this black hole with the little things inside, and the heart beating and so on. I started crying. Because I couldn't. It was for me so emotional, and also for the other kids. For all of them, I cry when I don't know why, but I cry. And since I have the kids, I cry more. So that's okay. It has nothing to do with age, I guess.
No, so, it's pure emotion.
How was for you? How was this emotion? Have you seen for the first time this? Or
it was. Obviously, we planned to have Finley, and it happened a lot quicker than we anticipated. But yeah, that first glimpse. I would say the only difficult thing for me, like now you brought it up, was because of COVID. I couldn't go in, so I wasn't allowed to go to the scans. So I never saw Finley moving.
Oh, okay.
On the scan, I was only allowed to see pictures, because it was the height of literally. Finley was born in November 2020, so March to June when we were having all the scans was literally height of lockdown. So yeah, I wasn't allowed into the room. The first scan, as far as I can remember, I wasn't even allowed in the hospital. I had to wait in the car, and then obviously I got to see the picture and things. So yeah, I'm a little bit gutted that I didn't get to see that. But again, things happen, right? It's not the end of the world. But yeah, I got to see the picture, and it's just like, wow, like the miracle of science, the ultimate joy that that this this incredible little thing is coming. And then obviously when he did arrive, it was quite hard.
So, yes. There was. How was? Did he arrive in time or too early, or what's the problem with him?
No, Finley arrived 7 weeks early, and he was incredibly small. So he was, I forget off the top of my head, but I think 1.4 kilograms or something like that. Yeah, he was incredibly tiny, incredibly unwell. Still not entirely sure what happened, but it was some sort of, we believe, some sort of placenta rupture or something like that, which put my partner in risk, as well as obviously Finley. So, yeah, he didn't grow as much as he should have in the womb. But yeah, it all came to a happening. We ended up in hospital, and then yeah, Finley spent 7 weeks in intensive care. Well, 4 weeks in intensive care, and then 3 weeks just trying to grow and be a good enough size to take home. But yeah, that was. You can go back and read the tweets, and like that was. An emotional.
Yeah, it was quite emotional, and I see. Yeah. I mean, even for us being away, let's say that, and having kids and understand what happens, because when you have a kid, and I mean, that's the thing that I think is something that changed your life. Having a kid changed your life in the sense that you cannot see a few things because you. It's too much pressure for my heart, and when I saw that, so, oh my God! And especially what I think that many people don't see is the feeling that have your partner or your wife, no? That's really the baby is you had the baby in your stomach, and then the baby is gone, and then you can see maybe behind some glasses or whatever, and you cannot. I don't know how was that in the COVID time, but it was for sure not easy.
The loneliest place I've ever felt. We got to hospital. We knew there was something not right, and they were. I was with Sarah. They were observing Sarah, and then suddenly, I just saw the doctor's eyes. She just changed. She spotted something, and just boom. Different mode, tons of people in. And again, I think the loneliest place I felt was because of COVID, I wasn't allowed in. So I couldn't go into the theatre room or even, the bit where you can watch in the theatre room. I was literally sat. I think they forgot I was there as well because obviously, they run off and do what they want to do. I wasn't important, right? Doesn't matter. Yeah. But like, I was sat in this chair in a ward with a mum who had just had twins to the side of me. They were having an incredible, fantastic time. I was so happy for them. But I was just sat there, number one, couldn't contact anyone, had no phone. I had no idea if Sarah was okay. I had no idea if the baby was okay. And I'm just sat in complete isolation. I couldn't do anything. Couldn't think of anything else. And then, obviously, eventually I got some news, and Sarah was put under and stuff. So eventually she came round. And then obviously, you start to be told a few things. But yeah, it was incredibly difficult. And, I want to tie it back a little bit to what we said at the start, about being open. I tried to be really open on social media at that time because number one, it helps me. I get a lot of comfort and joy and connection from social media. I know not everyone does, but I definitely do. And that was a time I needed it. The messages I got privately, the simple thing as a hug emoji, people, they're sending it in good faith, but what they don't realize is that you might read that at a time where you are so low, you are so struggling, and it's just like, you've really helped, and you don't even realize you've probably helped as much as you have. But I'm starting to cry, but like positively, he's doing really well. He's really annoying now, actually. He does me head in.
I saw his. I saw that you said he's coming to the test match in Manchester.
He is, yeah. So we instead of trying to work out childcare, what?
So he already started to play football.
He can, yeah. He's actually quite good at football. Yeah, he's quite good at kicking and dribbling. But yeah, I absolutely love him to pieces. He's like one of the best things that ever happened to me. So
I remember the first time. I was in. I didn't know exactly the place. The shop is not there anymore, and I went with my father walking. I was maybe 5, something like that, and or 4. Small guy, and we went to the shop, and my father went in, and he bought me, I don't know, how do you call this, a tricot and trousers and all the things you need to play football from Unión
like the
Deportiva.
kit. Yeah.
How do you call that?
The football kit.
A football kit. Okay.
Yeah.
He bought me the football kit for Unión Deportiva Las Palmas. This is the team from Gran Canaria. Yeah. And it was amazing, proud. I was so proud about that, and I was winning all the time. So did you bought already from which part of Manchester United, Manchester City, or?
No, Manchester United. He has a Manchester United kit. Sarah, who I've not really mentioned enough. Sarah is like my rock. She's incredible. She's you mentioned earlier about where I am. She's a huge part of where I am. But she's a Liverpool fan. So United and Liverpool don't really get on. Like, I mentioned Vernon before. Me and Vernon have this whole thing on Twitter. He's a Liverpool fan. I'm a United fan. But currently, without being able to make his own decisions, is a United fan. When he can make his own decisions, I will let him choose.
Okay. In Spain, there's a very clear, even if you have a local team, let's say Unión Deportiva Las Palmas, no? But Spain just gets separated. You are from Real Madrid or from Barcelona.
They're the biggest, aren't they?
That's the biggest. So and this is really a disgrace. If someone in your family is from Barcelona or from Madrid, it depends on. No?
Everyone in Germany supports Bayern Munich, right?
Not everybody. Not everybody.
It's the only team. No.
Hertha BC. No, yeah, truly, because there's the other ones, but also Borussia and so on. But there are some teams. I spoke with Van because for me, I look at TV football when there's some kind of championship, whatever, but I don't look regularly. So it's I'm not that. But everybody that I know from UK, there's no one. Everybody's so freaky about football or about cricket.
I'm not a fan of cricket. So cricket, and I'm not going to get into a conversation about like social classes, but like cricket and rugby have never been a thing that I've been a part of. Like, none of my family are into cricket or rugby or anything like that. But football, it's just everywhere. Every break at school is football.
Well, me too. I played football, and I play in a team. I always make a joke because I have still the the ID from Infantil Barcelona.
Nice.
I played in Infantil Barcelona.
So you played for Barcelona?
Yeah, but I played not in the Infantil Barcelona from Barcelona, but I played in Infantil Barcelona from Las Palmas. But the people don't know that, so I can.
You can just, they're not going to know. But football's everyone. My brother was played football, not professionally, but he played every week. Kept himself really fit in football. My dad likes watching football. He kind of switches between the teams. But football has just always been. It's always been a part of my life. I'm not bad at football. I'm good at 5-a-side. I'm not good at 11-a-side. I don't have the fitness to do that amount of running. But 5-a-side,
My son now is in Spain. He starts studying in Spain, and he never played football. He said he played in the school, maybe could be, but he never liked to play football. And now 2 or 3 days ago, he wrote me, I'm going to play football with other guys. And I said, oh, wow. So I'm going visiting him on the weekend. And I said to him, okay, I'm on Saturday, I may have time. What may I play with all of you? So and he was joking on me and said, okay, but you can only run 10 meters. Yeah, he said to me, I said, yeah, but you know what? Messi doesn't run; he just walks.
True.
That's me. That's me, Messi.
Make sure you're on the same team as your son, otherwise, he's going to come in for a tackle. He's just going to be like the opportunity to tackle your dad. He's going to take it.
He will take it. Yeah. So we are coming to the end. It's a pity, but we are in a pub or in a bar. And we have some obligatory questions about that. So I will ask you, and then you. I think I may know some of the answers already, but let's see. So, what is your favorite drink?
My favorite drink is probably outside of alcoholic, like craft beer, but probably Pepsi Max. So that's craft beer, decent pale ale, something like that. But soft drink, Pepsi Max.
What is your favorite song at the bar?
My favorite song.
So when you said again, and I just go out dancing. So that's the song. This is my song when I start moving. Do you like dancing? No. Yes.
I do, but I think I don't want to go too far into it. I have a very odd memory, right? Music and films don't stick. So I love films, I love music, but recalling them I find really difficult. But yeah, there's a song Love Struck that I think that me and my partner, it's kind of a song around the time we met. So yeah, I'd probably say that one.
Okay, but I have the same. I don't remember. I cannot sing the songs because I don't hear that. I don't know the names of the people who are singing it. I don't know the names of the songs. Nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
But I can tell you if they are from the 80s, I can tell you more or less the year because I work in a discotheque and I was in the discotheque, was in the bar, and then I said, okay, this year, more or less. But I don't know the singer. I don't know the title. I don't know anything. Yeah, but it's crazy.
Yeah, no, very similar. Like I've said I've never seen a film, and the film starts playing, I'll go, oh, I've seen this. I just can't remember.
Okay, if you could choose who would be your favorite person to talk at the bar? Any person. Which person would like to talk at the bar? Beside me and Boris Johnson.
Outside of my family and my partner, I would love to chat with Sir Alex Ferguson, because he was such an incredible manager for Manchester United. He's regarded as one of the best managers and leaders in the world. As I mentioned earlier, given the position that I am now as a CEO, I imagine I could learn a hell of a lot from him around people management, leadership. Yeah, I would love to have a drink with Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yeah. So one question that I like the most is I am your bartender tonight, and my experience is that when you are long enough with a client in the bar, and at some point when you are drinking, I mean, I didn't used to drink when I was in the bar, and at some point they start to talk to you and they make confessions. What's your confession tonight for me?
I can't really think of any confessions. I'm struggling, Jose. I can't think of any confessions.
Tell the truth. You were a STQB trainer.
Oh no, definitely not. No, definitely not an ICB trainer. I don't have any. Honestly, it's as silly as it sounds.
No sins.
No.
You are too clean.
I'm not too clean. I feel like it's probably already out there. Everything that I've done. Like I said, I'm trying to.
I think you are quite open. So
yeah, I'm trying to be quite open. Again, I wouldn't say it was a confession. I'd probably end up talking to the bartender like, I have a lot of doubt all the time, about, not imposter syndrome. Like I feel like I'm welcome, but I have a lot of doubt about my ideas. I am my biggest critique. Like I will repeat an idea in my head like 1 trillion times before I even share it with somebody else or squash it. So I think I am far too hard on myself. I should be nicer to myself.
did you already arrive to the stage that you cannot sleep at night due to the business?
No, I'm very blessed at being able to sleep, but
Okay.
I have reached to the point where when I'm awake, I can't do anything else. I have got to the point in places where I am in the room, but I am not in the room. I am not present. I am gone. And that it's not a great place to be. But as I said, it's just because of my thinking pattern. I get to that point. So yeah, as I said, I'm at my hardest critique. I should reach out more to people around me and be like, hey, I can't process this. I just need to talk to somebody or rubber duck it, get it out there. Yeah, that would be my confession. I would say is that I don't share enough, because I feel like I've not given it enough thought myself, that it's not good enough to share yet. I have to have tested it and critiqued it myself and run every single simulation permutation before I'm like, okay, I'm ready to give it out now, because because the thing is, I know people are going to critique it. I know people are going to find flaws. I know that's going to happen, but I need to eliminate as many of them as possible before I put that forward. And that's what keeps me like sometimes just wired and in this zone that, is not very healthy. I don't think it's a good place to be. But as you said yourself, running a business, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of things to think about, and someone has to do that thinking. And I'd rather I did a lot of it and gave my team a kind of more cemented idea for them to critique than give them my wishy-washy hypothesis, kind of floaty idea. I would rather give them something a bit more concrete to work with. So yeah, long-winded answer for my confession, but me and the bartender, we would have had a great chat.
Yeah, of course. Richard, thanks so much. It was very, very nice. Really very, very nice. And continue doing what you are doing, because you are doing good. Really. It's a pleasure to see the things that you are doing, or your team. And thanks so much. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. If you're okay, I would like to make a screenshot for Twitter.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that
yeah. Do you want the drink? So
okay, so cheers. Thanks so much.
No worries. Enjoy your evening, Jose. I should say
you too. Thanks so much. And best regards to Sarah. And yeah.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Speak to you soon. Bye bye.